Hello everyone. February the 9th today. Yesterday was a big earthquake, actually the largest one in more than 2 years. I looked it up on USGS, and this was here in the Caribbean area. This is the Caribbean subduction plate, and here is Mount Pelée. So my thought has been with Pelée for a while. I already did quite a bit of research which I'm sharing today of future alignments astrologically, which how they pan out in that area, particularly in the coordinates of Mount Pelée. So there was quite a few signs, I would call it. Kind of, it seems this big earthquake 7.6 was a warning shot. That's my take. It wakes up this whole plate to more activity. Here already you see we had quite a swarm of earthquakes over the last few months, weeks. Actually this here shows results. I guess I did put the settings to the last few months or so. Anyway, you see it is this is really a major event in this area. I guess it goes back many years for something bigger. Actually, on the USGS websites, it gives here a little bit of a comment. Large earthquakes at this location of the plate boundary are not unexpected. 10 M6 or larger quakes have occurred in this area within 250 kilometers since February. No, within 250 kilometers of the February 8 quake. Notably, on January 8, 2018, there was a 7.5, which was slightly less intense, but still, that is now 7 years back. So you see, it definitely is hard to tell where this is going, but as the seismic activity overall has been increased in this area, and as I say, astrology has some really interesting insights here, and that's where we are getting to. Just to show you quickly, this is another picture, Martinique, that is where Pelée is on, which is really one of the most dangerous volcanoes on our planet. When it erupted in 1902, it killed 40,000 people probably within minutes, as it was a gas cloud which was released sideways, which then traveled here and pretty much burned 20 square kilometers within seconds. A wave of 1,000+ degrees Celsius hot gas scorched everything. So this is called a stratovolcano, and these are the most dangerous ones, and naturally, even if it would awake, that doesn't mean there would be a catastrophe of the same category. What I'm more looking for is that prediction of Edgar Cayce coming true, which would be if Mount Etna in Italy, which is one of the most active volcanoes in general, has been active pretty much every second year or so. When Mount Etna and Mount Pelée will be active at the same time, that is the prediction. That would be the sign that serious earth changes are ahead of us. That was Edgar Cayce's insight in the 1930s, when he had all his dream, whatever you call that. He was a sleeping prophet, and yes, I did cover that whole prediction thing in a few videos prior. You might want to go back there and see the triangulation I was able to put together. So I'm expecting things to go in that direction. That's why I'm not surprised about this earthquake at all. This is just really a sign that we're going in that direction. Here is a picture of Mount Pelée towering over Saint-Pierre, which was and still, I guess again, is the biggest populated city on this island of Martinique. And on Wikipedia you find here the write-up on particularly that 1902 eruption which killed, here it says up to 30,000. I heard other accounts which even say more. There were only 3 survivors, and they were all seriously injured too, with burns, major burns. So yeah, it was probably one of the worst disasters in known history, volcanic. So let's jump into astrology, and I thought I'd start you with that 1902 eruption. Just a very, very quick look at this chart. Naturally, Uranus here at the descendant is not a surprise. The black moon here squaring the power axis at its most yang point, most to the right. The power axis, the central line of consciousness in this area at this moment. Hades up here, one of the Uranian planets. Nessus here towering together with Admetos, another one of those Uranian ones. Admetos about the deep and the power of Earth. Often or almost always shows up with big earthquakes. Admetos right now is also prominently placed with you don't see it here. This is the Saturn ingress of May 24. That is kind of the target date I'm having when things really seem to get intense. So we're building up still towards April, May. These are just precursors we are having we are having now. So there's lots to this chart which could be said, but let's go into the astrology of our present times. So interesting, and this I found this really, really interesting. You can think of it what you want. There were 2 solar flares, 2 bigger solar flares of 7.6 after all, exactly the same magnitude as the earthquake had yesterday. You see, this was the one on February the 6th, and then we have just 24 hours later another exact same magnitude, 7.6. And these are the charts here for Greenwich, and yes, we could analyze those too. I don't do this right now. I really just want to show you. This is the chart of the quake. This is certainly the one we are getting into a little bit, and you see this happened exactly at sunset at this point on our planet where this quake was measured at. Interesting. That means it's really activating the Earth in a bigger way than just locally. That's my take on it. And there's this perfect square to Uranus again. Well, it's 3 degrees off, but if you look at the overall picture, this is really close. Actually, that's another reason I think this is really a warning shot. And as we know now there were no damages, nobody was hurt. Probably if it had happened something like 12-15 minutes later with Uranus exactly in mid-heaven, the quake would have been much, much larger, much greater impact, probably causing tsunamis and such. So this is kind of what I'm reading out of this, that Uranus is slightly off. Then, okay, now we're getting into, well, first I want to say, right now, as of February the 9th, we're actually getting into a seismically very intense few days. Take note of that. Up to the 14th, 15th of February, there's a few major alignments which are definitely able to trigger earthquakes and volcanoes and such. On particularly on the 11th, there is an exact Sun-Uranus square. That means the Sun by then will have moved here from 20 degrees to 23, exactly squaring Uranus on the 11th, that is. On that same day, Sedna turns direct. Uranus had changed direction on January the 30th, that was, and Sedna is here joining again the forward motion. Now, these two together are historically linked to volcano activity and seismic activity, very similar to Admetos I had just mentioned before. So this is an interesting trio here of celestial forces, and I'm not really saying that these are the triggers. It's really, we have to understand that these are just dials which we can see what's happening on all levels. It's the synchronicity of it. It's not a direct causal connection between the planets and our earthly sphere. It is a synchronicity. It's like different clocks on the wall showing the same time. This is the one which is easiest to read, which is easiest to observe, the cosmic clock of all the planets and celestial bodies out there, how they're dancing, how they're moving, kind of showing. That is the energetic picture of our present times. So Admetos, Sedna, Uranus here, and then also this Centaur Pelion, which is connected to mountains. You can think of that what you want. Mountains holding the energy down. It's whenever Pelion shows up or is connected to a planet, it gives it more weight, more kind of impact. It's better rooted in the reality. In that sense, it manifests in a more strong way. So this also all gives Sedna an additional edge. Sedna certainly also connected to the deep, to earth, to nature, to some rumblings down there in Gemini, particularly with Admetos and Uranus again. So this is a theme of our coming months as Uranus is now moving forward and catching up with Sedna and Admetos probably next year. But this is a period we are getting into of definitely more seismic activity. I am pretty convinced this coming week in general will be because the Sun will be squaring Uranus on the 11th in sync with Sedna, turning direct. Then there's full moon on the 12th, and full moons also are often seen as triggers for bigger Earth events. Then on the 13th there's a heliocentric Ceres Uranus square. Here is Ceres and here is Uranus, so the heliocentric, they have their exact square on the 13th. On the 13th also there is a conjunction of Zeus with the black moon. The black moon will pull up to Zeus. This has been building up for quite a while. Zeus is sudden explosive events. Gunshots kind of are in that category too. It's a creative force also of directed, focused energy. And the black moon naturally always shows the more difficult manifestations of planets when it gets exact, so this could be related to something seismically bigger in the coming days. And then also on the 13th there will be the heliocentric square between Earth and Uranus. And on the 14th it comes really bang bang bang. The next few days there will be the exact conjunction of the Sun with Ceres, Earth goddess. Also in this whole environment we can expect this to be a activation of Earth energy in a bigger way. So I would not be surprised if there's any more large earthquakes or volcanic activity over the next few days alone. But now let's jump a little bit more into the further developments of what we will see. I found this interesting. I did relocate that earthquake of yesterday's to the global fractal point. I'm using Greenwich, and interestingly enough you have Mars here right at the zenith of the chart. So this is just the exact moment of the quake. Actually in military time it would be 23:23:14, which is reducing to a 5:55. I found this also very telling. That I'll show you here once more here on the Facebook. Come on. Okay, let me get this out of the picture here. Let me see. Okay, here we go. One of my friends sending me something. Here we go. This is okay. It won't show itself, or is it here? Okay. Anyway, you get it. It's not wanting to. Here it goes. Okay. I really wanted to show you this. Me and my computer. Here we go. 23:23:14. You see 5:55. I found this really interesting. Anyway, let's keep going. So Mars here at mid-heaven, elevated in the global impact of this shake. Very interesting, I find. Could be definitely a sign that we are going that direction. This is just a start. And this is the quake moment relocated to Mount Pele, and you see Jupiter up high and Australia down here, an opposition which also comes exact on the 11th. Australia is the one which steps in to clean up things which are needed to be dealt with. So this will be this hints on a major kind of rectification effort of sorts that could also be related. I'm not thinking that Mount Pelée will break out right away. I think this is still just in the preparation. Now we go back a little bit. Now I show you what I have prepared here in that context. This is the winter solstice chart. Actually, I'm going back to December 21st, 2024 for Mount Pelée relocated. And you see Jupiter exactly at the 7th house cusp, actually by 2 minutes of arc. This shows that in this year, between December 2024 and December 2025, this will be where major attention will be directed to this location on the planet. I guess that's pretty clear language. We also have the opposition of Saturn and Moon, which is a signature of this whole year, here in T-squared to Jupiter. So this in itself showed that this will be a year of sorrow, in a way, of really having to deal with dark stuff. And I mentioned it earlier, this is the year I'm expecting really big stuff to happen, and many people to pass into the other dimension. That's kind of the signature of that very clear. And this is just one of many charts which hint in that direction. Then if we go to the just recent heliocentric Jupiter-Saturn square, which again is a super important moment in time. Just please go back to a few recordings prior where I make my point why these are turning points in history. Have always been every 5 years it happens that heliocentric, the two biggest planets in our solar system, form 90-degree angles, 180, 270 and again 0. So these are the four major stations of change in humanitarian, socio-economic developments on how things manifest in a cultural bigger way here on planet Earth. So you see this chart has Uranus and Sedna here, very prominent here at the root of the chart, where it's fed from below. So this is and Deucalion up here too. Deucalion is a Kuiper belt object. Deucalion is a similar character to Noah, who had foreknowledge of something to happen. So it's a preparation for something we do not know yet what it is, but it is kind of that energy of getting ready, of preparing ourselves. That is in the game too. This is also a very slow moving one, so this will be in this area of the zodiac for quite a while too. So this is all for longer periods of time through what I'm telling you here. And if we look at again the Helio Jupiter Saturn, as I said, this is a 5-year period which was initiated on that day at that exact time. This was Uranus station on the 30th of January, also for Mount Pelée. And again, we see Uranus here strongly pronounced, also the Sun at midday. Okay, now we're getting into the future, into the next few weeks and such. The next one, which showed up really exactly in this location of major alignments, is the Sun Gong Gong conjunction on February 23. Gong Gong is the one whose the story goes is a Chinese water dragon who, as it is in a state of rage over not being honored in the way he wanted to, he ran his head into earth and changed its axis. For that the rivers were turning backwards and he caused lots of chaos. Now this naturally can be also seen allegorically as something that shakes us, makes us reconsider, go in a new direction, realize that, but it's still a very upsetting energy in some way. So this is interesting in the sign Pisces naturally. Again, this is just one little detail from this chart, but definitely the most basic one, as this is what this chart is about, that alignment, that yearly alignment which recharges Gong Gong with solar energy to express itself. Spring equinox, I think that's definitely another really important station on the journey through the year. And here again you see Jupiter prominently placed this time at the 4th house cusp, at the root of the chart. Then we go into the March 30th, that is another week later, and the moon is closest to Earth. Another point certainly to watch in terms of how things develop, in what place on this planet energies manifest, with the black moon here in the 1st degree of Scorpio, right with the black moon. yes, expect things to build up. It won't be an immediate thing. Mars here at the 7th house cusp. This is a process, a slow process. It's kind of bringing more and more focus to this place on the planet. Sun Chiron conjunction, I guess this is an obvious one when we are connecting globally, collectively with healing energy, moving things in a direction of cutting through all kinds of dark stuff and bringing it to a resolution, which naturally always first is not an easy place to go through. As I mentioned in one of my earlier recordings, it's the it's what is called in Germanic New Medicine the healing crisis. And the healing crisis often comes as such a big shock to the system that the person dies from it. That is the big moment of culmination in a process of recognition what has been going wrong, and we are definitely collectively going through that right now as all these things are brought to the open, onto the table, seen by everyone. All these deceptions are now starting to be dismantled, and people come to a real sobering awakening. So this energy is there, which is picked up by the earth, and then naturally it can be translated into some really magnified manifestations. So this is actually very close to a full moon then on the April the 12th, when that alignment will be exact. So you see, this in itself shows that yes, April will be the month where things get really seriously started in that direction. Again, go back to my earlier recording. Also, there's some other indications which hint all in the same direction. Then April 13th, just a day later, the moon is exactly at its farthest place from Earth, at its apogee. And I just want to share this quickly where I get this data from. There is this website here which shows you the lunar perigee and apogee for any year you're curious to know. So here you just can change the year number, and then here you can read it. So here we are at April 13th at 22:49 universal time. 22:49 universal time, and translated it here to local mean time. So if you add the 4 hours 4 minutes and 40 seconds, which is translating the 61 degrees and 10 minutes west of Greenwich, of the zero meridian, if you add those together you get 10:49 p.m. universal time. Mars Pluto here in a very close to exact opposition. Actually it will be coming exact the week after the moon and dark moon here at the ascendant. This is a pretty powerful chart, also with Venus and Saturn here in conjunction. There will be the third conjunction. So this really shows that we are moving in that direction overall of more intensity. This is the, let's see, okay, here is the Sirius Nessus conjunction of April the 18th, another one where Pele is pronounced in its manifestation of this energy. So let me show you, here is Sirius 2032 in Pisces and Nessus 2032 in Pisces. Nessus takes 122 years to once circle around the zodiac, or no, I'm wrong, 92 is the one, 92 years, but Sirius is much faster, it takes about 5 years, so this conjunction happens every 5-6 years or so, but still what this combination of energies means is Nessus is bringing out the worst of things, and this is Earth Goddess having to deal with that energy, so you can do the math yourself. This is when Mars is just entering Leo again, coming to oppose Pluto. So there's much going on. As I said, Venus here coming up to Saturn. So as April builds up, we are really getting into more and more intensity. And this will be the new moon of April 27th then. Again, Saturn this time pretty dead on exact on the 7th house cusp, on the place where things show up on the physical plane, where the energies are, where the rubber meets the road, you could say. That's often that moment, the 7th house cusp, where things get expressed. It's the horizon. That's the level of manifestation on planet Earth, versus this is the root energy, which is where things are coming from, and this is where things are going to, if you want. The targets new moon in Taurus, that will be for this location. And last but not least, and I should make this chart bigger too, we have the Saturn ingress of May 24 into Aries, a major moment in time. Here you have it, Saturn at 0 degrees in Aries for Mount Pele, and you have again Uranus and Mercury down here, Mars at the 7th house cup. So this is, I think, pretty much illustrates what I'm expecting things to move toward. There are big shifts coming, there's every sign for it, so we better should really start thinking about that. We still have a few weeks time to seriously prepare, whatever that means for our personal lives, and that is definitely up to everybody's own choice and decision. Anyway, thank you again for being here and listening to my podcast. Please share and give it a like, share, and whatever, subscribe. That definitely will help to get the algorithm higher, because I'm really banned, I'm shadow banned. Almost nobody is really seeing what I'm sharing here, and it would be nice to have a bit of a greater reach. Anyway, I'm still very happy that you are here and you are listening to what I'm having to share. Have a wonderful day, and yes, please note the next few days will be very shaky, so even just being in that awareness of holding the ground for all these places, all these people who are more in these troubled zones, is important to know that when we personally have that inner trust that things move in the right direction, that whatever manifests is meant to happen in a bigger way, as it is the only way we will get through into a better place. It is necessary. Certain shifts and changes are definitely unavoidable. At least that is my strong perspective. Again, thank you for being here, and talk to you soon.